You ever hear of a town where the roads loop endlessly? The nights are haunted by smiling monsters in human skin. And if you open your door after dark, you're as good as dead. Welcome to Nightmare Town. Once you're in, there's no getting out. Today we're diving into one of the most disturbing, mind-bending, and downright terrifying series you've probably never heard of, From. This isn't just a creepy town full of secrets. It's a cursed labyrinth, a purgatory, and maybe even something much, much older. In this place, every sunset is a countdown to carnage.
Before we begin, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps.
The show, From, begins with a nightmare setup, a mysterious small town that traps anyone who enters. Try to drive out, you'll find yourself looping back to the center, like a living purgatory glitch. But that's just the start. When the sun sets in this town, the real horror begins. Creatures, ancient, intelligent, and terrifying, come out. They look like humans. Sometimes they act like your dead relatives. But when they get in, they don't kill you clean. They rip, they tear, and they smile while doing it. The only protection? Hang a talisman, lock your doors and windows, and pray. Inhabitants split into two uneasy factions. The town, structured, family-led, and controlled by Boyd, a PTSD-ridden ex-soldier. The commune, chaotic, idealistic, run by Donna, a hardened survivor with her own scars. From there, the nightmare spirals. Children who see things adults can't. Voices in the woods. Time loops. Monsters that whisper like your loved ones. A mysterious boy in white. Trees that teleport people. And a possible truth buried beneath it all, that the town is a living entity feeding on hope, suffering, and secrets. Season after season, things escalate from survival horror to cosmic horror. Are they dead? Are they being watched? Are they part of a centuries-old experiment? Nobody knows, but everyone's breaking. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. And the revelation: parasites that kill monsters, pregnancies that shouldn't be possible, dreams that affect reality, the music box melody that murders in your sleep, and worst of all, the realization that some of them might have been here before. So, what are the creatures in From? You see them every night, smiling through the glass, tapping like they know you, speaking in voices that shouldn't belong to them. But what are they really? It's not an easy question. It's not supposed to be, because the deeper you dig into this nightmare town, the more the creatures twist out of your grasp, like shadows that flinch when you try to look directly at them. But after 3 seasons of horror, blood, and increasingly unhinged clues, 3 theories stand out. Each one's horrifying in its own right, and each one changes the way you'd survive or die in this place. Theory 1. The creatures are the damned, human souls long gone mad. There's something disturbingly intimate about these monsters. They don't act like animals. They wait. They whisper. They beg you to let them in. And when you do, it's not a kill. It's a feeding. The theory goes, these aren't aliens or entities or hallucinations. They're humans. Or at least, they were. Trapped here ages ago. People like Victor, like Tabitha, like the ones on that bus. And over time, something happened. Their minds rotted. Their flesh changed. They broke. Think about it. What if dying in this town doesn't set you free? What if it rewrites you? Rebuilds you cell by cell until you're a smiling, sharp-toothed shell? There's lore behind this idea too. You've got that moment Boyd injects one of the monsters with his parasite-infected blood and it dies. The first real death we've seen. If they were some supernatural being immune to mortal flaws, would that even be possible? Now add the bile, the lack of blood, the fact their organs have withered. These monsters aren't born, they're converted. And here's the kicker. If the town feeds on hope, then what's the cruelest thing it could do? Make you believe you're saving people, then make you become the thing you fear most. You don't escape. You evolve into the next threat. Theory 2. Biological experiments, lab rats in a cosmic petri dish. All right, buckle up for this one. It's weirdly clinical, but also deeply unsettling. There's a theory floating through fan circles, and Survivor whispers that the town itself is a test chamber, not metaphorically, a literal experiment. Run by who? Doesn't matter. Could be some buried government program, something alien, or something worse. What matters is that everything, the looping roads, the telepathic voices, even those bottle trees, has been placed. The strongest evidence, all the odd tech inconsistencies, radios that don't transmit but receive, wires with no strands, a phone call from a dead sun that's somehow picked up by the living. And then there's the monsters, which bleed bile and sleep in dark tunnels like hibernating prototypes. Add to that the seasonal shifts, summer turning to fall overnight, the parasites behaving like programmable viruses, and the deeply specific, recurring symbols scattered across town. And yeah, it all reeks of control, or at the very least, observation. So what's the horror here? It's not the monsters, it's that you're part of the data. Every scream, every hallucination, every birth, every death, it's all logged, cataloged, studied. They might not even care what happens to you. Your noise in a spreadsheet, a variable. And that creepy music box that kills in dreams could be a test function. Press play, see who dies, record the reaction. Worst part? There's no one to rebel against, no evil villain, just protocols. Theory 3, eternal reincarnation. This is where the show stops being scary and starts getting existentially nauseating. What if this town isn't a place you get to? What if it's where you return? In the third season's final gut punch, we learn that Tabitha and Jade have been here before, not metaphorically, literally. In different lives. The boy in white says it outright. This isn't their first time. And then he drops the phrase that hits harder than any jump scare. Angnoi, remember, the creatures then aren't strangers. They're the consequences, the result of choices made in other lives. Parents who sacrificed children, friends who betrayed each other, survivors who clung to hope too long. What if the town resets, over and over, bringing in old souls, new forms, forcing them to relive guilt, pain, grief, until they finally get it right? But what is right in a place built to break you? It's horror in the most personal sense. It's the fear that your worst mistakes don't die with you, that love doesn't save you, that the only thing that survives death is your guilt, stitched into your next life like a cursed second skin. And the children, the ones seen in visions, whispering lullabies and beckoning survivors forward, they're victims of that cycle, sacrificed long ago, and maybe still waiting for their parents to wake up. Are the monsters fallen souls, shredded and reborn? Are they synthetic husks, grown in a lab to test the limits of fear? Or are they simply us, versions of ourselves from darker timelines, bleeding through the cracks of memory and nightmare? If you're trapped in Nightmare Town, survival isn't about strength or luck. It's about how quickly you unravel, and whether you can stitch yourself back together before nightfall. Because everything in this place is designed to get in, not through force, but through doubt, through familiarity, through the voice of someone you lost whispering at your window. Your first instinct might be to run, to hide, to outthink it, but none of that works here. The town resets itself around your fear. The only real question is, can you stay yourself when everything around you is trying to turn you into something else? You'd need discipline, obsessive, ritual-level precision. Every door locked the same way, every talisman hung with the same knot, every moment accounted for. If you slip even once, it's over. Because these creatures, they don't attack, they invite. They wait until you say yes. That's the horror. You're not hunted, you're lured. And even if you survive the first few nights, that's when the real game starts. The dreams come, the voices, the symbols you swear you've seen before. You start recognizing places you've never been. You start to wonder, have I always been here? Am I remembering or forgetting? So maybe you try to dig. Search for patterns. Try to break the loop. But this place doesn't break. It responds. Every plan becomes part of its design. You think you're solving something, but really, you're feeding it. It wants your grief, your guilt. It needs it. And if you don't give it freely, it will take it from someone you love. So what would you really do? Would you shut everything out and survive one more night? Would you start drawing the symbols, chasing the dreams, trying to make sense of it all? Would you try to save others? Or would you become one of the people who opens the door? In the end, survival here isn't about living. It's about not breaking. Every night is a test, and the town is watching, listening, waiting for the moment you slip. And if you do, it doesn't kill you. It makes you smile. From isn't about monsters. Not really. It wears the skin of a survival horror, but underneath, it's something colder, older, and far more unsettling. The show is a slow, suffocating meditation on the loss of control, on what it means to be watched, manipulated, broken, rebuilt. It traps its characters in a town that doesn't obey the rules of physics, time, or sanity, and then it whispers in their ears that all of it might be their fault. The town in From is a closed system, no exits, no way out, and no understanding of how or why anyone arrives. People show up during road trips, medical transports, innocent drives through nowhere. Then a tree falls, the sun starts to set, and the loop begins. It's not a place you reach, it's a state you're pulled into, and everything inside that state is a reflection of what you carry in with you. Trauma, grief, guilt, they aren't side plots, they're fuel. The town eats those emotions. It rewards denial with hallucinations. It feeds false hope and sharpens it into a knife when you're not paying attention. The monsters aren't random creatures lurking in the woods. They are deliberate, patient, and surgical in how they break people down. They speak softly, mimic loved ones, ask to be let in, not for the kill, but for the emotional dissection that comes before it. The show isn't trying to scare you with gore. It's trying to make you question what it would take for you to open the door. If you heard a dead friend's voice outside your window, crying for help, how long would you resist? If you thought you could save someone, if you felt like the town was trying to tell you something important, how far would you go? Would you dig through the floorboards, chase shadows, sacrifice someone else's safety for the slim chance of truth? That's the brilliance and sickness of From. It makes the horror internal. It externalizes guilt and manifests it in the shape of your own undoing. This town, its creatures, the boy in white, the bottle trees, they all point to one thing. The residents are part of something cyclical, something ritualistic. They're not lost, they're selected, and each of them carries a role they don't remember, a purpose that's been buried under lifetimes of forgetting. The question isn't how to get out, it's whether they even should. More than anything, From represents the horror of recursion, of living through the same wounds, the same mistakes, the same fears, over and over, without knowing why. It's a story about people haunted not by death, but by memory, about what it means when survival becomes punishment. And if you look closely, it's not really about escaping a nightmare. It's about realizing the nightmare has a purpose, one that's watching, one that's listening, and one that might have started with you. If this breakdown turned your brain inside out like a late-night monster autopsy, smash that like button, drop a comment below with your theory, and subscribe for more.